Hey everyone, my name is Mike and welcome to the channel. I don't really make videos, but I kind of had a convergence of two of my worlds today when my friend sent me this Gambit.com blog post from chess.com. So I'm a longtime poker player and a longtime chess enthusiast, and I saw that their chief growth officer, Albert, came out with Gambit, which is supposed to be the next chess.com, but for poker. And I'll start by saying the positives. One, I think it's a wonderful idea. I think that poker improvement is something that is intimidating and hard to approach because one, it usually costs a lot of money if you want to play a lot of poker and improve. I remember when I first started playing in college, I was losing $50, $100 per session just to log those hours and be at a table with good players. So it's really nice to have the opportunity to play against bots in an offline environment and get suggestions based on that too. Solvers, which are basically poker tools that tell you if you played a hand correctly, are really slow and really expensive. Now, there's reasons for that, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But the idea of making that simpler and more approachable is a really great idea. Now, unfortunately, I think the rest of the video is basically going to be onto the negatives. Um, because spoiler alert, I do not think that in the current state of the website you'll be getting much solid poker advice. And I'm going to just start jumping into some of the hands that I played. I played about an hour on the site, and I'm going to be breaking down some hands that I think that the automated coach did not do a very good job on. And I will say I think that it does a pretty bad job on the majority of complex poker decisions. So I'll give you some examples of that right now. All right, let's get started with this hand. We have 5-6 suited, and we are going to call a raise from Janjay, who is under the gun. We are under the gun +1. It's saying that I should raise here. Maybe. I think that it's fine to call. I think that it's fine to raise. I definitely don't think it's a double question mark blunder just to call here. It is a classic drawing hand, like they say, but I don't think we mind getting into a pot for $5. You can make an argument for making a 3x raise to 15 here, but Janjay is under the gun raising, so she should have quite a strong range. Okay, so we bet the flop. It's happy with that. Yeah, kind of speculative flop bet, but it does kind of hit our calling range, and we do have that out to any four will give us a straight, and we have a backdoor flush draw. So betting the turn, our hand is improved because now we are open-ended with a flush draw. It's happy to that. Nice bet, your draw miss, still waiting. And we get raised. So raise from Janjay, and it says, you just called, but you should raise. Protect equity, deny draws, but your draw missed, still waiting. So let me break down why this just makes no sense. Protect equity. So equity usually means when you have a made hand and you want to protect it against, like for example, if Janjay has an 8 here, it makes sense for her to raise because she's protecting her equity. There's a lot of draws on the table. Clubs draws there, straight draws like mine are there. She is playing against the exact type of hand that I am playing. And actually, this advice that they gave would be perfect for Janjay. So I'm wondering if somehow the coach is accidentally giving advice to the other bots. But it makes no sense for us because we have no equity. We have 6 high. So the odds that our hand is good, like if we flipped up our hands right now and whoever had the best poker hand wins, is very low. So protect your equity makes no sense. Deny draws makes no sense. We are on a draw. We want to hit a draw. So that makes no sense. And then on the river, we hit our straight, we shipped it all in, and that is, of course, the correct play. We get a double exclamation point here. I guess it just likes going all in, or likes when we go all in. But yeah, the verbiage here is just not very good, and it's just a bad suggestion to raise here, I think. I mean, maybe there's an argument that with an open-ender and a flush draw, you want to get the money into the pot, but I think we're fine to call and see another card here. Okay, this is an interesting one. Big loss here. Loss of 433 chips. Let's see how it plays out. So I 3-bet Janjay here. Janjay bets 9. I bet 27 with the king queen suited. Janjay raises to 120. Big bet. And we call. It says solid call, king queen suited connects high cards with a suit. And it says inaccuracy. I wish it would tell me what it thinks is inaccurate. Does it think I should have raised? Does it think I should have folded? You could certainly make an argument for either here, but I think calling is pretty standard. So the flop comes, pretty decent flop for us. We don't like seeing the ace, but we love seeing two clubs, and we are on a gut shot with a flush draw. So we check. It's happy with that. Again, I would really like it to stop saying nice bet when we check, because checking and betting are very different things. And what happens here? So Jan J has two pair and bets, and we fold. Is that what happens? That's not what happens. Okay, this UI is really confusing. Okay, the reason that it flips up the hands, usually it only flips up the hands at the end, but I guess it's flipping up the hands here because Jan J went all in and we call. And it says, you called, but you should fold. King high plus a big combo draw, two-tone, flush draws live. So that is actually pretty logical from the coach, but it is just wrong. And we can do the calculations here to prove that that's wrong. And I'll give you kind of an intro, if you're not that used to poker, what calculating pot odds means. So whenever you make a bet, you want to know if it's profitable or not. So for example, if you want to bet me $1 that you can flip a coin and it hits heads, and I need to put $1 in to make that bet, I'm betting $1 to possibly win $2. And what percent chance do I need there? I need 50% chance to at least make it be a reasonable bet. Now, if you're saying, I bet you $1 against your 50 cents that I can flip a coin and it will be heads, I'm absolutely taking that bet, because now I'm betting 50 cents to win $1.50. So I only need 33% chance for that to work out, and heads is 50%, tails is 50%, so I've got 50%. And poker is the same thing. I need to know what are my odds in this hand. And if I could flip these cards face up, this is just about the worst possibility, is that it is Jan J having two pair, because that gives them full house odds. But even if I put that into a pot odds calculator, let's see, ace 4 against ace 10-4 with two clubs gives me a 39.9% chance of winning. So I have 39.9% chance to win the hand. And now let's look back at the pot odds. So before the pot was 244, they bet 313. So let's just throw this in a pot odds calculator. 244 with 314 into it. We need 35.98% chance to call this. And we, against their hand, not just their range, but their exact hand, we have 39.90. So even if Jan J flipped her cards up here and showed ace 4 suited and said all in, it is the correct play from a money-making standpoint to call that. Now it's even better call, because there's a ton of hands Jan J could have that aren't ace 4 two pair. They could have something like ace king, which is great for us because now they don't have as many full house outs, and we just need a club, or we just need a jack. They could have something like ace jack, which would be a little unfortunate, but still not as bad as ace 4. So yeah, you can see like any of these hands. Let's take this away and let's do like ace queen suited. Our odds go up 45.66%. So that's even better for us. So this advice is wrong. It's logical but incorrect based on the percentages, and long term would lose you a lot of money if you follow this advice. Here's another really weird one. We raise 6 on the flop. We get 3-bet to 25, and it's happy with me calling. You could even mix in 4 bets here, especially with how aggressive these bots are. But the flop comes Jack 8-6, and Nelson bets 77 into the pot. What was in the pot? 33. So almost over double the pot, and we fold. And it's calling it a big mistake. Nelson won the hand. You lost 25 chips. Spot to revisit. Raising fits the hand better than folding. I mean, the coach is just a maniac wanting to raise. I mean, Nelson almost 3-bet the pot here against, we have ace high, and it wants us to just rip it in with a backdoor flush draw. I mean, most of the time, Nelson's going to have something here. Even if they don't, they could have a lot of ace kings in their range, a lot of ace queens in their range that will be chopping, but they could have something like jacks in their range. They could have something like ace jack in their range, probably at the bottom of their range, but still. The amount of times that we're raising here and just getting shoved on, like all in immediately, is very high. So I wouldn't follow this advice either. Okay, moving on to one of the most simple, but I think one of the most interesting ones, is Nelson raises in the under the gun +1, Isabel calls, and I call from the small blind. So is this the correct suggestion from the coach to say that I was a bit too aggressive here? Yeah, probably. If you check a professional poker player's calling range for their small blind hands, you probably won't see fours in it for at least for an under the gun raise. Now, one thing to note is Nelson raised 2.5x, which is considered a relatively low raise. The standard from under the gun would be like 3.54, even 3x. But still, maybe I'm being aggressive with the call here. However, there's kind of a caveat here because I've been playing on this site at this point for hundreds of hands, and what I've noticed is that the bots are super aggressive pre-flop. They will raise hands that absolutely should not be raised, like 8-3 offsuit, 10-4, King 3. I've seen Nelson put 1,000 chips into the pot with absolute napkins in his hand. So if you get a table like that in a home game, you're going to want to be playing hands like pocket fours. And this is extremely common for newer players. You'll sit down at a table and you'll have all of your training from poker, and you'll notice that like you're losing hands like pocket fours to absolute garbage, like 10-6 offsuit that just randomly connects with 2 pair on the flop. So that means that you need to adjust your play style, you need to play more aggressively, and you need to up your sizings, and you need to raise hands to protect your equity early. Um, so yeah, is that too much to ask for from a poker solver in beta? To say, can we like check the VPIP of the other bots at the table and see if I am playing correctly based on that? Absolutely. But it would be useful for a human, like especially a beginner, to know about that kind of caveat before they just take everything at face value here. Um, I don't want to see a newer player always folding fours in the small blind at every table that they get to, and I think that's bad for their poker development. So it would be cool to see if there's something that could be said or done to kind of lighten that recommendation. All right, I'm gonna wrap the video up there. I want to go back to something that I alluded to in the very beginning of the video, which is this is a really hard problem to solve. Um, in any poker hand, there are practically infinite branching opportunities, and the other really hard thing about it is on a chessboard, you can see all of the same pieces that the other player can see, but in poker, there's incomplete information that comes with every decision, which makes calculations really hard for a solver. So I really do applaud the chess.com team for looking to tackle this problem, and I think that they're on a good track. The UI is really slick, and it's fun to play against the bots. However, the coach recommendations need a lot of work, and it does kind of rub me the wrong way that poker is a game that is played for money and often a lot of it. So if somebody comes to the site right now, especially when it's backed by a reputable company like chess.com that has proven that they have tools which can help people improve in chess, and they want to improve their poker in the same way, people are going to take these recommendations very seriously, and if they take it into a live game, they could lose a lot of money. Now, I hope that everybody kind of understands that this is in beta, but I would like for that to kind of be a more explicit asterisk on the site, maybe. Other than that, I think that it would be great for there to be an easier way to give feedback. I've offered some feedback already, or at least an opportunity to offer feedback in the chess.com forum as well as on LinkedIn. And I do look forward to hopefully connecting with the chess.com team. But yeah, I think that anybody should be able to give their feedback and show what things might be able to be improved. And I would be really excited if this became a tool that I could use for my own poker development, let alone beginner poker players. So with that, I'll be back if there are updates and I can make another video. But if not, yeah, I hope this was useful feedback to anybody that watched. And I hope that if you were going to use the site to improve your poker, you might at least take it with a grain of salt.